system. 0.
Welcome back to the OGB, the podcast. Today we have a special guest and we have a special interview. Poncho, brother.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you
Likewise,
for
brother.
having me. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for being part of this platform. I highly appreciate you. Thank you for making time.
Thank
What I
you.
mean, for your busy time, and I know you're going through something currently. And overall, thank you for being here with us.
No, definitely. I told you when we first talked, you wanted to interview me and get my story out there, and then I waited a while, and then I got the perfect story for you. I go, this would be part of my therapy,
Yes.
and I know you didn't know what I meant by that, and of course it's what I'm going through right now. With my wife suffering a stroke.
Okay.
Today's actually the fourth week, or 1 month. We'll say a month of her stroke. It was Monday. A month today.
Month today.
Yeah.
You want to take us back? How all that started?
Yeah, the story I told you I'd tell you would be from now, and then I'll take you back to 1993
Yes, please.
when we first met. She went to the dentist,
Okay.
and I was finishing work early that day, and I'll try to cut it as short because this story could go on.
Okay.
So I told her, hey, can you get me an appointment? Can you get me one? And she goes, yeah, I'll see what I can do. I go, I'll be off by 3:30 today. Make it around 4:15. She never called me. She never called me. So I called her. I said, hey, I'm off. I'm already off for my shift. I'm on my way home. What happened? Did you get my appointment? And then she just said, she sounded like a robot. She said it like 4 times. She goes, Frankie, I'm sick. Come home quick. I need you. She kept repeating that 4 times. And I go, you're playing with me, right? I go, you're joking.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, please come home quick. I'm sick. She kept saying that over and over. So I was already, not far from the house. And when I got to the house, where you at? And she was sitting in the chair, slunched over. So I found her like that. And I'm like, are you okay? What do you want? I go, come here, get up. She goes, I can't move. So I go, get up. So I grabbed her and she was dead weight. She was just dead weight. So I kind of walked her over
Yeah.
to the kitchen. And the minute I walked her over, I was dragging her feet. I was holding her.
Yeah.
And I sat her down and I called 911. So when I called 911, the paramedics came. And the first thing they asked me, I'll never forget, they were like, what did she take? Is she high? Because you would have thought she was high.
Okay.
I mean, she she was in nod state. She threw a nod. She was leaned over. And I go, she doesn't do drugs. She's not on drugs. And then they're like, well, do you think she had a stroke? And I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. So they did whatever test they do, like checking your vitals and doing what by hand. They go, she's not on any opiates. And I go, I told you that, but I understand you have to do that. And they go, and she didn't have a stroke. So they go, where did she come from? I go, she came from the dentist.
Yeah.
So they go, call the dentist. So I call the dentist. Fortunate they answered. I said, my wife was just in there. And what did you guys give her? I go, I know you can't give that kind of info out, but I go, I had the paramedics here and you're on speaker. So they said I forgot what they gave her. It wasn't Novocaine. It was a rubbing gel because she went for a cleaning.
Okay.
She didn't have surgery or anything or a root canal. She had a deep cleaning.
Yeah.
So they go, we just rubbed numbing gel on her.
Okay.
That was it. And I go, well, she's on her way to the hospital. So we got her to the hospital. The paramedics took her and we got her into the emergency. They ran all these tests, blood work. To skip to the story, I mean, we were in the emergency for 8-9 hours.
Oh.
And they were monitoring her. They did 2 CAT scans, but they ruled a stroke out. So at that point, I was already getting fed up, and I'm like, "What are you guys gonna do?" She's here. She's confused.
Yeah.
She's just laying here, and you guys are telling me that there's nothing wrong with her. I go, you know what? I'm gonna check her out. I'm gonna take her to Cedar Sinai, and that's a high-end hospital. The minute you say that, oh no, no, don't. We're gonna get her a room. So we were fortunate that her doctor was there,
Okay.
making his rounds.
Yeah.
And he stepped in, and he's like, "What's she doing here?" And then he goes, "No, we're gonna get her in a room, and we're gonna order an MRI first thing in the morning." So they ordered the MRI, and that's why it was diagnosed as a stroke.
Wow.
So I'm new to the stroke. She is. We don't know much about it.
Okay.
And she slept that whole day. And I remember I had to go to work, so I called her, and they gave her the phone. And then I asked her, I go, "Hey, do you know who this is?" And then after she's like, "Yeah, you." And I'm like, "Who's me? Who am I?" And then she said my first and last name, like real business. Like I kind of laughed, but at the first time I go, "Wow, like that's not her."
Yeah.
So I went to go see her. She slept all day, slept the whole day. She'd wake up in and out. And then that's when they told me, well, she had a stroke and this is what's going on, and et cetera, et cetera. So they cared for her, and you know, bottom line, she her memory was gone. Like she couldn't remember things, and she just had a different expression on her face. It wasn't the same of the woman that
Yeah.
that I've been with since 1993. It was just completely different. And as time went on, it got better. I mean, 3 weeks in the hospital. But they had told me at one point that it affected the left side of her brain. So it was the stroke was on the left side of her brain, so it affected
The right side.
the right side. So she couldn't see out of her right side, and she was learning to walk again. Well, when they told me she was learning to walk again, I shared the story with you
Yeah.
earlier. I thought she was paralyzed.
Wow.
And that's where the story has a little humor to it, aside from all the emotional roller coaster that we've both been in. And I mean, mainly her, she's the one that had it.
Yeah.
I thought she couldn't walk. I thought she was paralyzed. So you already know where this story is going. I haven't told too many people. You're getting it
Yeah.
first. So every time that she would go, I'd go see her. She's in a wheelchair, strapped down,
Yeah.
and I felt like it was hurting me to see her like that. I'd go have lunch with her, dinner, and it hurt me to ask her, "Are you ever going to be able to walk again? When can you walk?" So whenever she had to use the restroom, she would, hit a button. The nurse would come in,
Okay.
wheel her to the restroom, and I'd let her do her thing in her privacy. I never seen how they got her out of the wheelchair, so I'm assuming they're carrying her and putting her on the toilet, and she's doing her thing. So after 2 weeks, I will say 2 weeks of that, she gets a different nurse,
Okay.
and the nurse comes, and this one doesn't wheel her to the restroom. This one starts unstrapping her in the middle of the floor of
Okay.
her room.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there on my phone, and then something just made me look to my left because I'm giving her privacy, and I see her get up,
Okay.
and she's walking. So I break. Oh, I start crying. I start. I have no filter. I'm not gonna cuss on your podcast, but I'm cussing like, oh
Yeah,
my, it's
of
a
course.
miracle. It's a miracle. I can't believe this. And the nurse and her just stop and look at me with the weirdest look. And the nurse is like,
Yeah.
"Is your husband okay?" And then after I go, "She's walking. It's a miracle." And she goes, "You want to tell him?" I go, "Tell me what?" And she goes, "Frank, I've been able to walk." And I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean you've been able to walk?" And she goes, "I've been walking. I just can't walk like I used to, but I'm walking." And I'm like, "You've been able to walk all these days?" She goes, "What do you think I do at my therapy?" Well, I never seen what
See.
they were doing.
Yeah.
So I go, "You mean to tell me you're not paralyzed?" She goes, "What gave you that idea?" I go, "Well, the doctor had said
Yeah.
that you were learning to walk." I go, and then they have this big belt. It's called a gait belt. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's a big rubber belt, and they do physical therapy with
Okay.
that. I've never seen it. Apparently, you haven't either. So I'm picturing the therapist with this belt around him and her,
Okay.
and he's walking
Oh,
her
makes
like
sense.
a robot.
Makes sense.
That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
No, it's nothing like that. They put it around, and I guess they pull, and she walks forward like
Oh.
that. So I'm
Okay.
seeing this belt hanging in there. I'm like, man, this is what it's come to. Like, and I'm picturing both of them so she won't fall, and he's walking her,
sense.
kind of like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
That type
Yes,
of.
sir.
I'm picturing that in my head. All kinds of weird shit's going through my head.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow, you're able to walk. Like that was that was like a relief.
relief,
You know what I
yes.
mean? But she's having a hard time walking. She can't read,
Okay.
and I happened to go there for her speech and reading therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and so the therapist told me, "You could stay." I go, "No, I'll leave." She goes, "No, that way you see what's going on." That one hurt because I seen her reading, and she's reading like like a kid, like she can't pronounce, and
Okay.
but that there's a word they use for it in the medical terminology of a stroke and what she's going through. And me, I have no filter, so I asked the therapist. I
Okay.
go, "So what does that mean? Is that another word for brain damage?" And they said yes. It's a word like aphasia or something. I know I'm wrong, but they keep
Mhm.
using that. I go, "What is that?" And they go, "It's brain damage." I go, "So is that permanently or is it temporarily?" And they go, "It all depends on how she heals. Some people come right out of it. Some people don't. It could be permanent brain damage. So she's, like I said, moving faster, talking faster. You get her on the phone, and it's like it's a great conversation. But then she'll tell me she's watching TV. She's out in Utah right
Okay.
now, and she's watching TV, and it's like she's like, "I'm staring into space. I can't really focus on what's going
Comprehend.
on there." Yeah, yeah.
Was there any red flags prior of that?
No, like the thing with stroke is like everybody was asking, like they blamed it on our lifestyle because we're out there quite a bit partying and we sure don't eat right. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And I mean, I'm sure a lot of that could, and I know it does, to unhealthy lifestyle.
Okay.
Okay, and yes, we did live that.
Mhm.
Now I'm not going to lie on your
Mhm.
podcast and say that we didn't. We did. But strokes could happen to anybody. You could be 22 years old and running marathons and get a stroke. You know what I mean? It could. I'm learning that.
Okay.
You could be in the most tip-top shape. You know what I mean? So there weren't no red flags. There was no high blood pressure. There was no diabetes or any type of that led to that. Prior to that, she was in the hospital. She was on disability for what is called cellulitis.
Okay.
And cellulitis was we didn't. It's an infection in the skin,
Mhm.
and we think that she got it from the dog bite because she got bit by one of the dogs, and that led to cellulitis, which was her legs swelled up,
Yeah.
and she ended up in the hospital for that. But once she was cured from that, she was in the hospital for God, I think 4 weeks on that one, the three almost a month. They cured her because they asked her, they go, "Do you want to come home? But there's a chance you might be back." She's like, "No, just cure me." And the doctor's like, "Okay, we're gonna give you the best antibiotics," and they cured that. So
Okay.
she was still on disability from that. She was actually supposed to go to work, um, like a couple of days after she had the stroke.
Wow.
Yeah.
How are you holding with that? What do you?
Oh
How
man,
do you
I
learn
mean,
from all this
oh
experience?
God, I mean, where do I begin? It's been an emotional roller coaster because she is my best friend, my everything. Like there's nothing that we don't do together. The minute I get off of work, being that she was on disability,
Mhm.
I would like, where are we gonna go eat? What are we gonna do? We're always together. Yeah, the events that I do,
Yeah.
she's right there with me. She's been the push for me to keep doing what I do. Everybody thinks that I live that lifestyle. She does. She's the one that would push me and be like, "Hey, let's do this, or let's go out, or let's go." We had just did a 3-day event in Victorville
Mhm.
that I was hosting,
Yeah.
and she pushed for that. Like, come on, I go, man, that's a long stretch, and we're gonna be out there for 3 days, and it's hot, and I go, you don't know what my body's taking because I'm on stage for
Yeah.
these were long ones,
Wow.
and 3 days, and she was like, come on, it'll be fun. When will we ever say we did this again? So she was the push. So
Okay.
to see her now, like it slowed us down. It's changed our lifestyle.
I'm sure.
And to address why she's in Utah, when they released her, they asked me, like, are you gonna have somebody with her 24 hours at home? Like, can you be there with her? I said, I
Mhm.
work. I have to work.
Mhm.
And they go like, well, can you get somebody, a friend? Or I go, we don't have anybody out here. And they're like, well, she needs to have somebody there with her. So that's where her sisters stepped in, and
Okay.
she has a daughter that lives in Utah. She has three sisters, a brother, and a daughter that live in Utah. And they're like, well, we could have her, and she could do her therapy out there until she's ready to come home and doesn't need therapy anymore.
Okay.
So that's where we're at with that. And then not to mention, I had to have the house up to par because we're never home and we're always out. So our living room turned into a closet.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of obstacles. Like, no, I go, they're gonna come in here, a social worker, and they're gonna
Yeah.
say, you guys are hoarders. Like, no, this ain't safe at all. So I have a gentleman, Rudy, working on the house for me every day, putting everything in bins
Okay.
and packing it. And we're getting that ready for her. And then hopefully by the time she comes home, she won't need any more therapy. She'll
That's
be,
great.
right.
Hopefully she gets better.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So after 4 weeks now, she's out there and try to recuperate and come back
Recuperating, yeah.
to
It's
life.
the whole recovery. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is there any advice that you can tell that you have learned from this experience to any of the viewers as
Oh
if
man.
anything happens like that to any of their loved ones?
Well, yeah. The main thing is, I mean, honestly, save money
Mhm.
because you never know when something like this is going to happen. Our situation is we both have good careers. We both work,
Mhm.
but what we did was we lived paycheck to paycheck, and we never worried about like if something like this would happen and what if. So there was a situation where I couldn't get into her account
Okay.
because what Chamarita would do is, and that's my wife,
Yeah.
she would pay all the bills online through her phone.
Hmm.
I didn't know who we're financed through. I haven't been in a bank in 15 years, like gone in there to actually do a transaction. I don't know how to withdraw. Maybe that's a good thing from an ATM. I don't know how to do any of that. So she would do everything. My check would, I barely started doing direct deposit about 15 years ago.
Okay.
15 years ago, I did direct deposit. Prior
Mhm.
to that, I would go pick up my check, go in there and cash it. So I was real old school. Paying the bills, I would mail them,
Okay.
buy a money order,
Yeah.
put a stamp on it, and that's what I'm doing now. I had to go back to that.
Oh wow.
So back to advice: save, because you never know when something like this is going to happen. And there was a time when I couldn't get into her account
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know her PIN number. And it got us behind on a few payments to a point where I had to borrow from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? People see me and they think I'm balling out of control because of the way I live my lifestyle. You know, we were both paycheck to paycheck. And I would always say, like, you can't take it with you. You might as well enjoy it.
Yes.
But you never know until something like this happens and you got the bills backing up. And I'm learning. So to give advice to someone, always have something, a little money. If
Emergency.
you could put uh, so much out of each check and not touch it,
Mhm.
which I was supposed to, but I didn't, that would have helped me right now. Instead, right now I'm working every day, and I'm not working every day to get ahead. I'm working every day right now to catch up, and I'll say it.
Mhm.
And another thing, without saying too much, um, a mother, there's nothing a mother wouldn't do for her children,
Mhm.
whether it's a son or daughters. In this case, it's daughters. And I respect Chamarita for that. I don't hold it against her. She has daughters. And where I'm going with this without saying too much is a mother will help their daughters, their children, which aren't children anymore, in a time of need.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I could see a single daughter,
Mhm.
but these two have husbands with careers. Well, without saying too much, Chamarita went without to help a situation or a few situations, which put us behind on
Wow.
our bills and our mortgage and that's where I'm at right now.
So you
Without
just
saying
barely
too
found
much.
out
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. But I love that woman, and that's when you realize how much you're in love with somebody,
Mhm.
because it's like when I told her I was eating, she's in the hospital. I go, Chamarita, really? Like now, I really like. I'm not eating like we used to, girl. I go, I'm eating oatmeal. I'm making macaroni. Luckily, Spreads has sent me a package a year back. I had a box of Spreads. Are
Okay.
you hip to that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I think I made it wrong because I mixed it with macaroni. Oh my God. And then I got some salsa to give it a taste.
Yeah.
And then I was telling, this was yesterday.
Okay.
And I was telling the gentleman at work, I go, yeah, I made macaroni with spreads and I mixed it. And I don't know what I did. And he goes, well, did you have butter? No. Did you have milk? No. And he goes, so you just made macaroni with what? I go, with water. And I go, yeah, I learned that. I don't think I ever make macaroni again. I'm gonna do the spreads again tonight the right way.
Yeah.
But the macaroni kind of killed it.
Yeah.
And it's still talking about it. I get off school. I get up. So I've learned a lot how to like really watch your money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I never had to. Prior to that, there was no. I would never ask how much or look for the cheapest gas to
No, I
put in the
understand.
car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm at a point right now where I'm holding it down solo. You know what I mean? And she's, I'm fortunate that I have a good job and I am working 7 days. Prior to that, I used to enjoy working 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's to a point where I'm staying busy. That's for sure.
At least you got a job in
Yeah, at
time.
least I have a job that could save me on this,
Yes, sir.
and it is.
Yes,
It
sir.
is.
Well, with that being said, sorry that you're going through this whole process, but at the end of the day, you will always learn something from.
Oh,
from
I'm
that,
learning a
you know what
lot.
I mean?
Yes, definitely.
And I wish her the best. Hopefully, she's back home soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fully healed, and you guys can go back. Not the same way as before, but
Yeah. No, no, no. And it's funny because I get so many positive comments, and I want to thank everybody
Mhm.
for the prayers. And I mean, prayers go a long way, and I do
Yes.
believe in that. And thank you, because everybody has been,
Yeah.
sending their prayers. And then of course I get the ones that talk, the negative ones,
Yeah.
that you guys did this to yourselves, or that today I was arguing with a couple early in the morning in regards to Chamarita didn't show them love, and I'm like, wow. And then I thought about it, like, didn't show you love. Well, if you're hearing this, Chamarita, you have an impact because you broke two hearts somewhere out there, because apparently you didn't show them love, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue on that one, not on your podcast, but my own way.
I understand.
But yeah, they were butthurt because apparently Chamarita didn't show them love in the past and at a time like this. And then there was negative things being said about her, and I'm like, wow, I don't think you would have said that. Which, you should have said it that day that she didn't show you love.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Instead of now, you're kicking her while she's down.
Yeah, that's
You know
not
what I
right.
mean? So yeah. but she has an impact on somebody because she broke some hearts out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's always some hint out there they want to put it allegedly 2 cents, but it is what it is. As long as you guys are good, you guys are moving forward. At the end of
Yes,
the day, I
yes, and
mean,
like I said, I'm learning a lot from this experience, like a lot, money wise.
yes,
I
sir.
went into the bank. I had to figure out a PIN number for me, how to withdraw, how to pay online, because a few of them, like I said, I bought money orders, and then people were like, "You actually mailed it?" I go, "Yeah, but I got the cool stamps. I got those lowrider
And the
stamps.
Lord,
I bought the lowrider stamps, and I did that, and I mailed them out."
yeah.
And then I talked to a banker and the manager, and I was like, "Hey man, I haven't been in a bank in like 15 years." And he looked at me and he was like, "You were gone that?" He thought I was busted.
Hmm.
Like, "You were gone that long?" I said, "No, no, no." I go, I haven't been. My wife does the banking, and I go, "I don't even know how much I have to have in here to cover certain things that's being pulled out." And then it was funny because he goes, "You have a black Escalade?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "You know who I am?" And then he goes, "No, it's financed to us."
No.
And he knew the year and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
So I go, "Oh man, you just saved me." I go, "Is finance through Chase?"
yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah." And then I go, "Okay, how much are they taking out?" And he told me. I go, "Oh, good. Okay, now I know I got to have that in there."
Hmm.
And then after I go, "Oh wow." I go, "You just saved me," because I didn't know who were financed through. I didn't know what's coming out of
Where's
my
going where?
account, what's
Yeah.
going where. I'm learning all that. I mean, so he did a printout for me, and yeah, I learned all that. So there's another lesson to learn from on that.
That's what.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, sometimes things happen for a reason, even though I don't wish that to anybody. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I guess when
And
you
of
just,
course, I learned where the money was going and
yeah,
where it goes now and how far it goes. And now with this inflation and all this other shit, it don't go too far.
not at
You know
all.
what I mean? It doesn't go too far at all. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
I'm not a tightwad. I've never been. Like
Mhm.
anybody that knows me, like, oh man, that guy would just spend money like anything. Now it's like, oh gosh,
Now you pick and choose, right?
yeah, I have no choice. I have no choice. Yeah.
So, take us back when you guys met.
Oh God,
How
1993.
yes, sir. How's that story? How's
Well,
the beginning?
well, 1993, I was on Terminal Island,
Hmm.
and Chamorrita's an island girl. She's from the island of Guam.
Hmm.
So when everybody asked me like, where did you meet her? Like, I met her on an island. Like, oh, Hawaii, where? Samoa, Hawaii, and I go, no, on Terminal Island. On Terminal Island, I
Yeah.
was working, and there was a cafe out there called the Harbor Lights,
Okay.
and it's not there no more, but the building's still there. So I was having breakfast, and she happened to walk in, and I just remember seeing her, and she had these leggings on. And you could tell she had thick legs, and she had the curls, long, long, long hair. Her hair was like past her butt. She had that typical island look,
Hmm.
and she looked like she belonged on a can of like pineapple juice. Her face, all she needed was that piece that they
Yeah.
wear around their head and the lei. So when I seen that, I was like, wow, like who is this girl? And I go, she can't be Samoan because she looks too small. She's
Hmm.
not that big. And then I go, I wonder where she's from. So I asked her, and she told me, she lived in Carson.
Hmm.
And then right there, and then it hit me. I go, she's Samoan and she related to the Booyah tribe. And I go, and those are friends of mine.
Yeah.
And I go, oh man, I'm gonna have to meet them. I'm gonna go, the whole family, I'm gonna meet the whole family. And
Yeah.
and then when she told me where she lived in an area called Scottsdale.
Okay.
That was a rough area back then, like
Hmm.
a rough. When we'd ride the bus and we'd go through that area, the bus driver would tell us like, we're approaching Scottsdale. All these dudes would be sitting on the wall. I was like 11 years old. I'd
Hmm.
be with my mom, and we'd be on that RTD going to LA, and they'd tell us like to stay away from the windows, and these dudes would throw bottles at the window. So now let's skip 1993. I'm going in there, and I'm like,
Oh.
oh man, like, do I really want to do this? Like honestly,
Yeah.
oh man, like I may never come out alive, So I remember I picked her up, and we went out.
So you did
and-
went
Oh
to
yeah, I took that risk. I took
no
that risk.
way.
Yeah, I took that risk. And I told her, I go, you know where you she's like, no, it's a nice area. And it's like, and I'm like, man, you haven't heard stories. And people that, we're going back to the 90s in
Yeah.
Scottsdale,
Different times.
So yeah, so she I went to go see. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I ain't holding back on this one. So I told her to meet me across the street. So I go, hey, meet me across the street. So she met me across the street. So I said, okay. And then I go, we'll jump in my car. She goes, well, we got to go back. I got to take my car back.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, you can't leave it here in the shopping center.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no. So you got to follow me in there. So I'm like, fuck, that's what I was trying to get out of. You know what I mean? So I ended up following her in. And while I made it, I'm here telling you the story.
Yes, sir. We're here.
And yeah, so that was the beginning, and then it just took off from there. So we went on our first actual, I guess you'd call it a date,
Hmm.
and that was actually our first date, but she says it wasn't. Our first date was El Torito, Redondo Beach. So that one was just like a little drive around. We ended up at the Marina Pacifica in Long Beach. We were gonna go, I think, to a movie, and then I think we missed all the timing for the good movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we just did a little marina walk, and that was it. So now the following, I think it was like the following week or 2 weeks, we end up at the Pier in Redondo, and it's my birthday. So we're celebrating my birthday, and I didn't know that, she couldn't really handle
Mm-hmm.
tequila. So I'm ordering Cadillac margaritas, right?
Okay.
Triples, like triple up, and she's drinking them and this and that, and she got drunk.
Oh.
So that's when I was like, well, what do you want to do now? And I always tell this story, that me so horny, anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chamorrita had like a little island accent in the beginning. So I would say that she said, anything you want, and then I'm like, anything. So boom, we went straight to the motel.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, we were in the motel, and my mom calls me up. And this is 1993, so the hood's active.
Yeah.
My mother calls me, excuse me, pages me
Mm-hmm.
back with the beepers.
Correct.
So she pages me, and she's like, Frankie, don't come home tonight. They're picking everybody up right now. The cops are hot, like hot. And then after, this is my mother telling me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, she goes, where you at? I go, Mom, I'm on PCH at the Lomito Motel. And then she's like, with who? And I go, oh, you don't know her.
Yeah.
And I go, I just met her. And I go, I think her name is Julia, which it was Juliet.
Yeah.
And then after she goes, well, don't come home. And I'm like, well, shoot, I want to come home,
Yeah.
So I stood there for a couple of hours, and then I ended up coming home, took her home back, and then I ended up home. And then my mom was like, wow, who's this one? And then after I just told her, I go, some girl I met. And then after I go, you kind of like her. She's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking for a minute. And then my mom, first thing, like, is she Chicana? And I go, no, she's an islander. She's from an island. And she's like, wow. So I talked more and more about her to my mom. And I remember, I'm going to backtrack, our very first date when she was doing the margaritas.
Yeah.
Sade was filming a music video, which was on the terminal that I worked at.
Mhm.
So she asked me, how was your day? And I said, well, Sade was out there filming a video. And it was at This Is No Ordinary Love. I don't know if you've ever seen the video, but she's a mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
And Sade jumps in the water, and she's a mermaid, and she lands on the dock. And that's where we were watching. And they told us, like, don't go there, don't bother her. She's doing the video. But that was the first thing we all did. And none of us had, back then, I mean, you had to have a camera with you.
Correct.
You couldn't just capture the
Yeah.
moment. So I remember I was telling her, yeah, Sade, was there doing a video, and it's going to come out soon. I don't know what song it was. So now we're going to skip a while, and I'm talking about her to my mother.
Mhm.
A month has gone by, or 2 months. And my mom, of course, never hadn't met her, but I'm telling her, and this video comes out. And I go, well, she's an islander. Like, she's from an island. I go, she's like a mermaid, Mom. And my mom was like her in that video. And I go, wow, that's the video. And then I'm telling her the story. I go, our first date, official date, they were that day they were filming the video, and I'm telling her the story. I go, wow, that's the video. And I go, well, no, but she would always tell me, like, yeah, I was like a mermaid. My backyard was the ocean. And she would tell me what got me were her stories, because they weren't like my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
And she would just tell me, and I go, man, you just walk out the back, and the back was the ocean, and and she goes, yeah, we just eat fish from the sea, and just, and I'm picturing her like, did you wear those coconut bras? And she's like, no, but we had the ocean right there. It was beautiful, So anyways, I'm talking more and more about her to my mother. My mom's like, I want to meet her. I want to meet her. So during that time, we had a New Year's party,
Mm-hmm.
and I go, you'll meet her. She's coming to this party. So my mom ended up meeting her, and they briefly talked. And then my mom was like, I want to go out with her. I want to, So I called her. I go, hey, would you mind like going out with my mother? Like, she was like, for what? I go, my mom hits all the bars, and you know what I mean, So she's like, yeah. So Monday Night Football, they would hit certain bars in Pedro or spots. And that was my mom's drinking partner. Well, eventually they became best friends.
Okay.
So now they're going out quite a bit. I'm not going out with them. It's her, and my mom.
Okay.
And they're hitting all the spots, like bar hopping through the whole harbor area. They even made their way to Carson, from Pedro to Carson to Wilmington.
Yeah.
So I remember one time my mom had told me, she goes, are you serious about her? And I'm like, not really. Like, she's cool. We do our thing, and I do my thing, and we're not like boyfriend and girlfriend. And she goes, okay, I just want to know. I go, why? And she goes, well, because we go to a lot of these bars, and guys ask for her number, and my mom goes, I love it, because they're buying us drinks the whole night. I don't got to pay for a drink, for her. So she goes, thanks to her, and I'm like, really? And then after she goes, yeah. She goes, but you don't have a problem with that? And I go, well, what do you mean they're asking for numbers?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, different guys ask, for a number and they're buying us drinks and we're just having a great time. So now it's stuck in my head. You know what I mean? So I'm like, she goes, but you're not serious about her. So
Yeah.
don't, you have nothing to worry about. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not serious about her. So I remember the next day at work, I called her up and I told her, I said, hey, what's this shit that you're fucking giving your, I don't know if I could cuss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Go,
okay.
please.
All right. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I go that you're giving your number to these individuals at the bar. She's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? You didn't think I'd find out? I found out. And then I go, that's bullshit, and I cussed her out and
Yeah.
everything. And then I'm telling her, and then she's like, I didn't give out. Who told you this? I go, it don't matter who told me. You know who told me,
Yeah.
and this and that. I go, they were there. They seen you giving your number out. She's like, I didn't. And then in the process of me hollering and raising my voice, out of nowhere, it just came out. I go, don't you know I love you? And then she was like, wait, what? And then I go, don't you know that I love you? And then she goes, say it again. And I go, I can't believe I just said that. And then I just stopped. And then after she goes, oh my God, you said it. You said it. So that's where it came out. My anger and jealousy brought that out. And then I remember telling my mom, I came home. And then after I go, she ain't going to be doing that anymore. Well, it turned out my mom made that story up. She didn't give her number to anybody. She wasn't. My mom said that to see where I stood with her because my mom knew that that was the one
That was
for
the one
me.
for you.
That was the one for me. So my mom made that happen. My mom is
She planted
responsible.
the
My
seed.
mom was her best friend. They were best friends. Then the changes came. My mom was a chola. My mom was a homegirl. My mom, had tattoos. She been through it, done it all. And my mom had told me one time, she goes, I like her a lot. That's my best friend. There's nothing I would do for her, but she's not like us. But we could change that. I'm like, wait, what
What do you
change?
mean?
So one day I come home and she dyed her hair blonde. The next time I come home, my mom got her first tattoo.
What?
So, and my mom, had an uncle that was fighting a case in the county for 3 strikes. So, my mom's taking her. She's taking my mom, excuse me, to the county jail, and they're going to, visit, and she's getting exposed to a life that wasn't her upbringing, real fast and real quick, and that I don't glorify, but I mean I don't hide it, and I'm still there. So yeah, my mom changed her into an island chola, and I remember the first time my mom bought her a brim,
Okay.
and was like, "This is how you wear it, and this is and I was like, wow, you pulled it off, man. You look good in that. You know what I mean? You really. So my mom changed her, like changed her quick and taught her a lot,
Okay.
and taught her, And I'd always say, I go, you learned a lot from being around me and my mother, which is the street life. I go, but one thing we couldn't teach you, I go, and that's what you were born with, and that's called our heart. You were born with that. You know what I mean? You can't teach somebody to have that. You may have learned a different lifestyle. You may have learned, we don't speak on certain things, or we don't say this or do that, or when it's time to get busy, we get busy. But one thing you were born with, and that's heart.
Yes, sir.
And that girl had it and has it.
That's why I got you in love.
I mean, 1993. We've been, and back to when she first walked in that diner, the cafe in Terminal Island. Um, I was doing music then and Chicano rap. And my biggest accomplishment was coming out in this magazine called Orly's. It was Orly's Lowriding. And they had did a story on me. And I remember I had bought every issue in the air, every 7-Eleven. I had about 100 copies in my trunk. So I when I seen her, I asked her if I could buy her a coffee. She said no, that she already had paid for it. Can I buy her breakfast? And she was like, no, she was cool with that. So she was kind of like just shooting me down, like yes, no, 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 and like that. And then I had asked her for her number. And then after she was like, no, give me yours. So I gave her my pager number. And then that was it. And then I just disappeared. So I went outside. So when she tells the story, she goes, yeah, I was looking for him and I couldn't find him anywhere. And then I was in my trunk. And then when she came out, that was my line, like, hey, I just came out in this magazine, you want to check it out? And I gave her an issue. And then that was where it just took off from there. And then she started paging me, which she'll tell the story is the opposite. That she gave me her work number and I would call her work. So it was 1993.
Yeah.
But she tells a different story that I started calling her. I said she was blowing me up. So the rest is history.
Good history. We were chopping it up earlier. Um, when you were telling the story when you guys when you took the initiative to celebrate her birthday, but it was more than that.
Well, this was down the line, like down the like. There's so much in between that has happened. Like 2006, and I don't want to make this story about me because it's about our love story, but it all ties in.
Correct.
So 2006, my mother passes away, and Chamorrita played a big role in me making a comeback from my music.
Okay.
So 2006 to 2008, I was going through it from losing my mother, and Chamarita pushed me to do a 20-year anniversary of my mixtapes, which I used to do cassettes back in the days. And she even told me, she goes, "Come on, do your CD, do a CD. I'll fund it. I'll pay for it." And I'm like, "Man, I don't even know how to get into a studio." She got me in the studio. Everything fell in place, and everything was paved that way. So 2008, the MC Poncho come back bigger than ever. Now I'm doing my first CD. People would ask me, how long did it take to do a CD? 20 years, because I did cassette
Yeah.
back in the days. But the push was Chamarita. You know what I mean? And a lot of negativity came with that, with the success. We won't even call it success. We'll call it attention.
Okay.
Okay, the attention. And this is during MySpace. So I got a MySpace account. So I'm getting hit up by different women, not asking about my CD,
Yeah.
not asking anything about that. Like, are you married? No, I'm in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, I'm not married. So there was a point in my life where I thought, like, well, I'm not married. I guess I could do whatever I want to do. And maybe I shouldn't be in this type of relationship. So during, see, people are even hollering because they know that the story is really getting it's getting yeah. So there was a time when yeah, you're gonna hear this one where we almost went different ways.
No way.
Yeah, because of me. I blamed her for not focusing on our relationship, for not paying attention, where I felt that other women were paying attention because I could ask a question. But see, with social media, you get studied. People that don't know you think they know you. They know every little thing. They know every tattoo you have, everything, whatever it may be. And I felt like Chamarita didn't know, didn't know a lot of things that were taking place. And I was going through something at the time, so I blamed her. I justified it. And when time came and everything came to a boil, that's when I told her, I said, you know what? I don't think maybe we should be in this relationship. Maybe we should go our separate ways. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. I go, I'll be damned if I brought another woman in this house because the relationship you and my mother had. And, my mom would haunt me if I brought another woman here. I go, but you could take the house, keep up the mortgage, and I'll find my own place. And I remember she looked at me like, are you serious? Like, I don't know what you're going through, but I ain't going anywhere. And she goes, so, get through it, get over it. And I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. We're not going to throw that down the drain. So I was like, fine. So a couple of weeks go by, we get invited to this spot out in Orange County. It's called Original Mics by these two DJs that were spinning out there. And they had hit me up on social media and said, hey, you want to come? So I remember I told Chamrita, I go, I'm going to this spot called Original Mics. I don't know. I'm going solo. I go, I don't know anybody out there. We're going into Orange County and just the two that invited me. And I go, so don't wait up. She's like, I'm going with you. So I said, all right, cool, then you drive. so she drove. So we're here at this spot. Have you ever been to Original Mics or in Santana?
Yes, sir.
So we're out there on the patio on the outside. We're listening to music and we're looking at everybody dancing so happy. And Orange County does it different. They have a different stilo. They boogie. And they do what we do, the cholo dance, but they do it fast and they go low.
Correct.
We're watching all that. We're new to that. And we're like in awe, just like, wow. And then this vato comes up out of nowhere and he goes, hey, man, welcome to Orange County. He grabs the mic and he's like, I'm going to give it up for my two people right here. And he gave it up for us, And then he goes, they're in our backyard, show them love. And it was just me and her. So like, wow, and everybody started coming up and shaking our hands. It was like a first date for me and her. And that played a role to our rejoining. Then this song comes on. It's called Feel My Love.
Okay.
Okay, that was the first time we heard it. And we both just felt it. Like, man, she goes, you know this? I go, I don't know any of these songs. I don't know. And I used to DJ. I go, I don't know any of these songs. I go, they run a whole different funk era game out here than we do back home. Like I don't know any of these, but they're jamming, they're bad, and I don't know this Feel My Love. So everybody knew it, everybody was dancing. She's like, "You want to dance?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're dancing to it, and we're feeling that love, reoccurring." So that couple, that DJ Frog and Bugsy at that time, would do God, this was a Friday. They would do Friday, Saturday, all the way till next week.
Okay.
Weekdays, everything. We ended up following them. We would go Monday. We're in Los Arcos in Buena Park. Tuesday we're at God, I can't remember the name of that other spot. It was in Santana on down the street.
Okay.
Carmina's. We're at Heads and Tails out in what is that? God, I can't forget the city. I know some of them gonna see this and remember. We're making our tour with them 7 days a week and going to work the next day, and it that brought us back to like it was just like getting to know each other all over again. And every time that Feel My Love would come on, like, oh man, there it is. There it is. We felt that love would get up and dance and and it's just me and her. It's just and I remember we'd hit checkpoints.
Yeah.
Coming home we'd hit a checkpoint. And then the cops would ask, like, well, your driver's license, you live in San Pedro? We're like, yeah. What are you doing out here? And he goes, let me guess, you're here for the funk. And we're like, yeah. Yeah. And he was like, okay, get home safe. And it was cool. We did that on a regular.
Wow.
So that's what brought us back together. And Orange County and all the beautiful people that we met and hearing that song played a big role. Now we'll skip to her birthday, what I told you about before. So I had this big birthday party for her, and I actually had that DJ spin.
Okay.
He was one of the DJs, and I wanted to do it old school. I wanted to have two DJs, not just one system. I wanted two systems. So when I hired the DJs, I said, this is what I want. I got one of you on one end, one of you on the other. You bring all your lights, you bring all your speakers, they're going to bring in. You're going to go, it ain't a battle, but you're going to go back and forth because that's how we used to do it back in the days. And they're like, wow. I go, so two systems. The one that I had covering all the West Coast was Sugar Free's DJ, Bobby B. He was on that side. And then the one that had originally invited us out to her original mics was on this side. So it was her birthday party. It was, she knew all about it. You know what I mean? I had been planning it. We had it at Portugal, and it was in July. And, I had Aztec dancers. I had mariachis. I had Rocky Padilla opened it up. I had different performers. It was a show. I had Chamorro dancers, which is her native Guam, that do like the hula and like that, so they did their thing for her. But what she didn't know that day was I was going to marry her. So she knew about the whole party, but she didn't know that she was getting married. And how we got married, it fell into the faith of one man's decision, hands, whatever you want to call it. A gentleman by the name of Maverick, and he's been seen quite a bit with me lately. He's back in our lives, and he's been going with me to a lot of events. He's an MMA fighter, and he's got a lot of different things under his belt, which he's done. So this happened to we had lost contact. We were in contact, for a couple of years, and now I'm ready to have her birthday party like in 2 days. And I hit up Maverick. I just happened to be going through Facebook, and I seen a picture of him wearing a priest collar. And he's an actor as well. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he landed a movie as a priest. So I looked on my phone. I don't have his number. So I go, man, I don't have his number. So I go, you know what? I'm on my lunch break. I'm going to send him a message on Facebook. The message said, Maverick, if you get this message, please call me. Here's my number. If you don't have it, I'll wait for your call. And what I had said in my head was, if he calls me within this hour of my lunch break, and he really is a priest, he's going to marry us. He's going to be the one to do it. So I asked, he called me like, boom, like 10 minutes. Like, oh shit. In a way, I was like, man, did I want him to call or did I not? So here it comes, right? I can't turn back now. I made this commitment to myself, like a promise, right? So I go, okay, I seen a picture of you. Are you a priest or are you doing a movie? He's like, no, brother, I've given my life to the Lord and I'm serving. And
Change man.
Wow, this ain't him,
Yeah.
This is a tough dude, So I'm like, wow, this okay. So I go, have you ever married anybody? And then he told me, he goes, when and where for you, I'm there. Like that. I go, no, not for me. I'm just asking, like, I'm asking for a friend, And he's like, no, when? Tell me when. I go, Maverick, it's like in 2 days. And then I go, you know, if you will do it, would you marry us? And he's like, I'm there. I told you already, I'm there. Just tell me when. And so I'm like, wow, okay, there ain't no turning back. So now I have to put this together. It was already put together. You know, the everything fell in there. There was a lady that made us a cake.
Okay.
And I remember she was like, let me make her a birthday cake. And I had ordered these full sheet cakes with her picture, my picture on them. This one made a cake. Like when I didn't know what she meant. She goes, "Can I get there early? Because I have to set up a cake." Well, it was 4 tiers.
Wow.
It turned into a wedding cake, but the cake was for her, and there were just pictures of Chamarita and different things. Like she had a brim that was edible. Chamarita smoked cigarettes then, Capri 120s. There was a pack of cigarettes that was edible. You know, everything was edible on this cake, and it was tiered up. You see it in our video.
Yeah.
This was the perfect wedding cake. You know what I mean? And this woman that made this for us, Vero, she didn't know we were getting married because I didn't tell anybody. Just who I picked to be in the wedding. That was it.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, well, now it turned into a wedding. Like, what? And I go, yes, and this is how I want to do it, and this is who I want in it, and you're going to be there. And, you know, everybody that I promised would be there will be there. Regardless if they're incarcerated, where they're at, you're there. They're there. You're representing your husband, they're there. So now I have photographers. I have different people at the house. Chamarita's getting ready. I want to capture all the moment, you know, of her putting her makeup on, getting ready. She thinks she's getting ready for her birthday, so she's like, "Wow, we got photographers here at the house, for, you know." And I go, "Yeah, I just, you know, it's a birthday you're never gonna forget, and this and that, you know." So so they're taking pictures of her, and now it's time to leave. So I go, "Well, you go with them in this car, and I'll go with the other guys in this car." This is July, summertime, and it's hotter than hot the whole day, sunny, beautiful day. The minute we open the door, it pours rain, like pours, like just comes down, like pouring.
Wow.
So we got Chamarita back in the house. I'm like, well, get her an umbrella, and you guys cover her, and they got her in the car. So the guys that took her down to Portugal, which I don't live far from, they got her there. But the car that I went in, this is how hard it was raining. Um, they got lost, and we ended up by the post office. And I was like, "Where are we at?" And they're like, "We're by the post office." I go, "No, you passed it up. You're supposed to go down." And he was like, "I lost them. I couldn't see them." So luckily, she made it there already because there was already guests, and it just poured, like it poured on us, like we were drenched wet when we walked in there.
Wow.
So I never looked at it until I told people this story, and they all said, "Man, those were tears from heaven of your mother, because your mother wanted that wedding. She wanted that old school wedding with the bombs and all that, and the traditional. It came close to that, mom. You know, it came close how we did it, how I did it. I pulled this off solo, um, but yeah, those were tears from heaven. You know, my mother, and so now we get in there, and I start roasting her, and I'm talking about how we met, and the spot was so perfect because it's our side of San Pedro, the water's right there, and across is Terminal Island. And I'm like, if you look straight across the balcony, that's where we met, right there at that cafe. I go, it's right there. You guys can see it from here. So, you know, they're looking, I'm telling the story, and I'm telling, you know, what I said word for word, that I've always loved this woman, but it wasn't until recently that I fell in love with this woman. And I go, she knew about everything. She knew about, you know, this whole party, what I had planned for her. But what she didn't know is she's getting married right now on the spot. And I pulled that off, man. You know, the guy put a Bible in Maverick's hand. Maverick's delivering. Maverick was a little nervous, and yeah, you're gonna hear this, Maverick, because this is his first person that he married, and he's, you know, getting the words out and saying everything. But he pulled that off. He married us right there, and I remember she was just crying hysterical, like. And I would tell her, like, why did you cry? And she cried like a baby, like a baby that couldn't even catch her breath. I never heard her cry like that. And yeah, we pulled that off. I even get choked up
You
right
pulled
now
it
telling
off.
this story. Well, thank you. I did. Yes,
That's
I
on you,
can take
brother.
credit for that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you
You pulled
for
that
making that clear. I did. I planned all that by myself.
Yeah.
You know,
You
and
gather everything in.
and it was a beautiful, successful wedding. You know, we did it right there, and it was definitely a day and a night to remember. You
That
know,
part,
and
definitely.
like I said, who was there? You know, I had a lot of friends that I used to correspond with that were incarcerated that I would write to, and I told them if the lifers that were never coming home. Two of them have passed on since. And I said, you guys will be in my wedding whenever I do get married.
That's great.
Regardless if you have a life sentence, you will be there. And how we set the table up was we put their pictures
Okay.
and then their wives were there representing them.
Right next to them.
And yeah, and I had it visualized. I had an Aztec ceremony for me. I had the island dancers, the Chamorro Guam for her, mariachis. The mariachis had to be there. There were some that I've known throughout the years, and I told them, "You guys have to get the hats." Like a lot of them won't wear them now. It's too heavy. It's they complain. Everyone that I called, they were like, "No, I'll pay you extra for the hats." They're like, "No, we don't do that." All right, these guys did,
Yeah.
and they pulled it off. And I go, when you sing that song Amor Eterno,
Mhm.
which is on my hat, which is my mom's, I go, I want to cry, and they did.
That's
They
great.
did. That one hit. So
That's
it was the most perfect wedding that I pulled off.
yes, sir, you did. You did. Reminiscing all these beautiful stories that you have with your wife and getting married. That's definitely a unique way to get married, brother.
Thank you.
Definitely, you know what I mean. I
Thank
have
you.
never heard that before,
Thank you.
and it's definitely something that put into the books. You know what I mean.
Thank you.
Going through all of this, what is your best memory besides your marriage that you have with your wife that brings you back chills and stuff like that?
There's so many, but I kept putting it off, and I kept putting it off, right? Because I did a lot, and this story isn't about me. Like it's about me and her.
Yes.
I look forward to giving you my story.
Mhm.
Coming back and if you have me again
Yeah.
to tell my story.
Absolutely.
But I did a lot of touring in Japan, and I never realized how close Japan was to Guam, where
Mhm.
she's from. So our last trip, um, I got to meet her mother before she passed, and we flew from. We were in Japan for I think 3 weeks, and then from there we went to Guam for a week,
Mhm.
and then back to Japan for I think 3 days, and I got to see where she came from, and I fell in love with it. I never been to Hawaii, but
Mhm.
I hear it's like a mini Hawaii, and we had hit in Japan, we had hit a monsoon, and in Guam, we hit a typhoon. So we were weather chasing like
Yeah.
crazy. But I had a visual, like a vision of what I was gonna do. And I go, I love my cigars. I go, I'm gonna be sitting on this beach and I'm gonna be smoking a cigar. I can't swim. Yeah, I'm from the harbor area. I can't swim, but I go, I'll be waist high and I'm gonna be sitting there. And luckily, we had that one day of sunshine after the storms, and I just sat there with her, and I go, this is what I wanted to do with you, and to see where you came from. And I remember she took me all over the different villages. And, that's one memorable. I remember looking out because her brother had rented us this beautiful hotel
Mhm.
for the first 2 nights. And then we had our booking. He goes, that's my gift to you.
Mhm.
And I remember looking out and I was like, it was nighttime when we got there. And I looked like, what is that out there? And she's like, that's the ocean, that's the water. And I'm like, wow, we're on a balcony, and you got the pool.
Yeah.
And then you're looking over there and you just like, it's nighttime. I'm like, you kidding me? That's the ocean? Like, I can't wait till the sun comes out so I can see this. And yeah. And then just that trip was like, it just, I told her, like, this is, it's a home for me. It's like, she's the islander. And
Yeah.
I just loved it the way everybody treated me. But with her,
Yes.
that to go back like to that, like I would I'm looking forward to going back there with her.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
definitely a great memory. Anything do you feel that you want to share more to the viewers about her, about Chamorrita?
Just having a soulmate. Like different people ask like what keeps this relationship so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it's balance, yin yang. It's I'm fortunate to have this, and I can't give advice to people. I mean, I have like
Mhm.
lessons that I've learned in this situation as far as spending money, and what I just shared with you in this early
Yeah.
conversation. I wouldn't even call it an interview. In this early conversation, but back to like people ask me like how can we be like that? I don't know. I always thought I was the perfect catch because I have no kids. I had a good job. I still have a good job, the same job I've been doing for 38 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought I was, I didn't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I thought I was the perfect catch. So like, but I realized that I have a lot of faults, and I'm sure hard to live with, and balance is what made it. So I remember. I'm gonna skip back, and it was a time that we were going back to what we were going through. And aside from original Ike's and Santana, we ended up at a spot in Van Nuys
Hmm.
called Carlitos Way. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, not.
So this bar supposedly is haunted, and a lot of people would go there for it. It's not there no more. They moved it, I believe, to Studio City or somewhere else. But this was the original Carlitos Way.
Hmm.
And the gentlemen, they were filming the Twilight Zone movie. And I don't know if you remember when that movie came out,
Hmm.
but there was a helicopter crash
Yeah.
that killed this gentleman. I want to say, I think his name was Vic Morrow, and one of the kids that was doing the scene. Well, that was one of his spots. So they said that this bar was haunted by Vic Morrow.
Hmm.
And during my time of my brief acting career, I would meet with a lot of different directors because we did a lot of stuff in that area. And I remember going to that bar, Carlitos Way. That's one of my favorite movies with Al Pacino.
Hmm.
Had nothing to do, I don't think, with the movie. I don't know. Maybe the owner was a big fan of that movie.
Yeah.
So I made it a point to go there. So now years down the line, we're trying to get our relationship back in order, me and Chamorrita. And I remember we went a different route, like a complete different route. Instead of going through a counselor or whatever, I said, I got a audition for a movie out here. It's a table. Actually, it was a table reading. Table reading is where you get with the whole cast and
Hmm.
you go over the whole script and everybody's reading it. I got to go out there. Do you want to go? Yes or no? She's like, I'll go with you. I'll take you. I go, you can't come. You gotta, So she's like, I'll wait in the car. So she waits in the car about 3 hours. We do the table reading. Now we're driving down Sepulveda, and we're in the Van Nuys area, San Fernando, North Hollywood, all that area. And I go, you want answers for this relationship? And she's like, yeah. And I go, look at how many psychic readings we passed by. And I go, they're on every block. There's a hooker on every block, and there's a
Yeah.
psychic reading on every block, and a motel on every block. So pick one. She's like, all right. So she picks one. We drive in there, and we walk in, and the lady comes out, Gypsy, and she shakes my hand. She shakes my hand. She gets shocked. You can feel electricity. So she tells me, she goes, why are you here? I go, you're the psychic. You tell me. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
And then after she goes, okay, I'll read you, but I'm going to read her for free. But I'll read both of you for $100. So, all right, cool. So she goes, I'll do your palm and we'll do the cards. All right, cool. So she starts reading me, and she goes into a deep reading that she's want me to tell you everything. Yeah, and she goes, you have a lot of women that are coming to you. And then after I go, yeah, and she goes, I go, it would be the best thing for a single guy, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
still trying to, in my mind, get out of this relationship. So I go, it would be the best thing, right? For a single. She goes, yeah, but they're taking something from you, and it's energy, and you're real low on your energy, and it's like you're caught up in one of those wind storms.
Hmm.
And she goes, and you think you know what you're doing, but you don't, and you're playing with fire. And then I go, so where did this come from? And she goes, when you're in the womb, somebody did this to your father, which is brujeria,
Hmm.
and you inherited that. And then after she goes, the lady's still alive that did this to your dad. And I'm
Hmm.
like, wow. So she goes, there's ways I could cure it, or what. Like, I've been living with it forever. I go, just make sure she's protected.
Hmm.
So Chamarita would go to her on a regular and do her cleansing,
Hmm.
and whatever it was that she was selling, her certain soaps and all that. Me, I've lived with it my whole life. So during one of those visits, I tell her, hey, there's a bar around here. It's called Carlitos Way. You want to stop there and you want to have a drink? That's what it's getting to. So we stop in there, and it was a trip because, like, you ever watch that show Cheers, where everybody knows your name? Cheers.
Yeah.
That was Carlitos Way. We're a long ways from home. And I remember the chick made me a drink. She's like, what do you have? And she goes, I'll make something for you you're going to like. And it was like celery. It was like a Bloody Mary margarita with everything in it, but all your vegetables. She was in the blender, and she goes, you're going to get all your nutrients and all that with this drink. So then this guy comes, and he plays this song on the jukebox. And the song's called Happy by Rick James and Tina Marie. And he plays it. And I look at Chamarita and I tell her, I go, that's an underrated song. because Rick James and Tina Marie are known for Fire and Desire. That's one of their love ballads. Then they did later on this song called Happy, but it didn't take off like Fire and Desire. But in my eyes and a lot of other people, it's way better. It's a way better song. So I told Chamorrita word for word. I go, I know this song. I know this song word for word. And then after she looked at me, and this brother comes up, this black guy, and he's standing there and he's smiling and he's just waiting for like a drink.
Mhm.
And I looked at him, and then after he goes, "You like that song?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I played it." And then I go, "Man, I know that song word for word. It's underrated." I didn't realize he was giving me a message. So I go, "I know that song word for word, right?" Those were my words. Get home, hear it, shake hands with him. His name was Shy Town. He's from Chicago.
Mhm.
And we're driving home. Then it clicked. I go, "Yeah, I said I know those songs word for word, but somehow I forgot the words." You get it?
Mhm.
So I looked up the lyrics, and those words were everything of me and Chamorrita. Like it was written for us. And I remember I think I was on Facebook and I told that story, and then I put look up the lyrics, like anybody that's our story. And that became one of our songs. That became
Mhm.
our wedding song. That became everything. So now it's about a week gone by. We're doing the original Mike's thing, and she's like, "Hey, I want to go back to Carlitos Way." And I'm like, "Man, that's a long drive, and it's like a weeknight." So she goes, "I don't care, I'll drive." It took us like we left Pedro at 5 o'clock. We probably got to Carlitos Way about 9 o'clock. Like we're in traffic all coming home. Fuck, it took us like what 15, 20.
Yeah.
The way she drove, we're driving home at 2 in the morning. No one's on the
In the
on the
freeway.
freeways. So yeah, it took us about 2.5, 3 hours to get there. We're going there, and everybody's like tripping, like, "You guys are from where? And you're coming here?" Like, "Yeah, this is our spot. And then the guy came, no, somebody sent me a drink. And then I told the girl, "Who sent me this?" And it was the gentleman in Chi-Town.
Oh wow.
And then I told him, "Hey, come here, man." I go, "That song," like he already knew. And I looked at him, I go, "Are you real?" Because this place
Yeah.
is haunted.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm real." And then I go, "That song, you don't know what we're going through. You don't know what you just did by playing this song. Like you don't know what you just reopened." And then he goes, "It's gonna get better. And people are gonna be coming to you for advice, and you guys are gonna be that couple." And I'm like, "Nah." And he goes, "You are, trust me, you will. And you'll see. It's only gonna get better from here on." And it did. And I looked for this guy. He was real.
Mhm.
He was. I asked around, but I couldn't find him. I go, "That should have been my best man at the wedding. Like he should have been right there." One of my best men. And I never found him again, but he played a role with that song and the messages through that song, and that was one of them. Was that, and then "Feel My Love" with, by Vaughn Mason. I had the honor of meeting the gentleman that sang that song, "Feel My Love," at a concert that I hosted a few,
Mhm.
and I told him, "Man, you saved us with that song." You don't know what that song, "Feel My Love," like when they see us dancing, everybody knows that's their song. That's their
Yeah.
song. That and "Happy" by Rick James and Tina Marie. It's been an up and down emotional roller coaster these last couple of weeks with what I've been going through, and I can only imagine what my wife is going through because she's the victim. She's the one going through it, but I'm going through it as well. And like I said, it ain't about me. I lost the three most important people in my life, and I always talk about. I lost my brother to a heroin overdose, and we were by his side. I was 8 years old when he passed, and when we got the call, we stood by his side till the coroners came. So I figured my mother was building me up for that strength. 9 months later, my dad dies of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and he died in the house. I was fortunate to have my mother up until I was 36, and my mother died in my arms. And these last 3 weeks, and that's death, death,
Mhm.
dealing with your immediate family death. That's it. You have no more family. That's it. It's done right there. That's all I had. Now, I have Chamarita all this time, and she's still with us. It was like I lost her. Like I went through it. I'd be at work, and I'm having like emotional breakdowns, and then like a song would come on, and then I would just start crying. Like I didn't know how I was going to be able to telling this story. That's why I told you your podcast would be my therapy because I'm able to vent and tell this story and talk. There's of everything that I had boiled in me over this last month. this last month. That I keep saying 3 weeks. It's been a month. Like
It's been
it's
a month.
yeah, a month
Yes.
today. It's been a month today. I didn't even know what day it was. I had to ask you like what date, because I don't know. Like I just been going hard with work, and trying to be there, for um, Chamarita, you know, and yes, I want to hear. I got a comment from somebody that was saying like you should be there for her, taking care of her, and don't take her for granted. And I'm like, man, the things that people could say, because I wish she was here. I wish I could have her. I can't. I know she's in the best hands
Yeah.
out there. And that's hard saying goodbye. But it's not goodbye until she gets better and
She,
comes home.
she gets better. Correct.
You know.
You feel that your wife was a blessing in the sky?
Oh, definitely. Without even letting you finish that, um, when after my brother and my father had passed, it was just me and my mother
Mm-hmm.
all the way. And my mom was that very, very overprotected mother. So any woman that would come in, she knew what was right and what was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met Chamarita, I was 23 years old. I'm still young, and I'm thinking I'm out there doing, I'm the player, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, no, she knew what was right for me. And not only did she come into my life, she came into my mother's life as well. She got us out of our shell. She got us out of a dark place that we were both in. She got us out of like there was years we wouldn't put up a Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like, for what? It's just the two of us. Like, for what? We didn't do Thanksgiving. Like, why am I going to cook all this? And my biggest mistake was telling my mother, when I start working, you're never going to cook again. Well, she took me up on that. So my mom was like, oh, what are we going to eat tonight? You said it.
Yeah.
So when Chamarita came, it brought, she brought holiday cheer.
Okay.
Now we're doing a Christmas tree. Now we're doing a turkey. Now we're actually the funniest part. My mom had us coloring Easter eggs. There's no little kids involved. There's nobody. I'm like, really, mom? We're coloring eggs? And then she's like, and now I'm gonna hide them for you. I'm like, are you really gonna hide the eggs for me and her? We're adults here. But yeah, my mom would treat us both like little kids,
That's great.
But we were her kids, I guess.
Yes.
And like I said, Chamarita had brought us. She was that blessing to me and my mother to show us that there was more to life. Like you know uh she gave us reason to live.
Yeah.
We were both just like stuck on ways that like I can't even explain, stubborn ways, and ways that like she opened us up to a lot of different things, a
Yeah.
lot of different things.
Yeah. I can imagine you having a different background than her, affiliating and having someone that is not in your world. It's like a day and night difference.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
But at the same token, she helped you to, like I told you earlier, there's a light at the end of the tunnel,
yeah, yeah.
and I feel that she's giving you that and more. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yes.
For someone like yourself that you be going through a lot, family related and all that situation, and at the end of the day, you going out of your ways to give her a special memory that she has her birthday,
Yeah.
and you still thinking outside the box to marry her.
Yeah. And then to this day, I mean, like every year I have her birthday party at
Yeah.
99 Bottles, and we honor her with an island. None of us are islanders. We're all, Chicano, Mexican,
Yeah.
but we do the hakus, the lays, and then I get her the lay and all that. And, because she has adapted and been welcomed into a lifestyle that we can go on and on and on. No one really knows the name of it. Some call it Chicano.
Yeah.
I would say Chicano's a Mexican American. I say the Cholo life. It doesn't really have a name. We could debate it over and over, but she
Yeah.
has been part of that cultura,
Hmm.
and welcomed into it. You know what I mean? Welcomed into it, with open arms. I remember they wanted to do a shoot on her, and it was something about the years of Chicano history. I go, she can't. She's not Chicana. So that she can't. They go, well, she's one of us.
Hmm.
And I go, well, I love hearing that, but honestly, she's an islander, and you know what I mean. And those are her roots, and it's two worlds that come together, and I appreciate the island style. You know what I mean? I love it. They think it's funny when we would go out when we first like different events.
Yeah.
They thought I was an islander and she was a Mexican because I looked, and I had the double braids, and they were like, "Wait, you're not." I go, "No, I'm Mexican. She's the islander." And they're like, "Okay, she got the blonde hair, she got the tattoo, she got the three da mi vida loca tattooed," and they're like confused, like really? Yeah, I go, "No, I'm the Mexican." She's
I'm the Mexican.
yeah,
What is her
yeah.
favorite food? And
Huh?
what is her favorite food?
Her favorite food?
Yes, sir.
One of them I know is nopales that my mother, my grandma, because that's one of mine.
Yeah.
So my grandmother had turned my mom onto that. My
Yeah.
mom taught her. She's like, you got to learn this, you know. And it was simple the way we do it. We do it a little Americanized Chicano style, can of Las Palmas,
Yeah.
the red sauce. You know, I'm sure my grandmother would make it, you
Yeah.
know, the sauce and all that. That and then the nopalitos with the pork meat, potatoes, and then we used to grow them in the back. So my mom would like, you guys got to cut them.
Yeah.
And then in the process, we'd get the splinters, the spinas on
Definitely.
us.
Yes, sir.
Now you could buy them already clean.
Yeah.
And we do that. And we will say, oh, your mom's probably like just, oh, you could hear it. You know, you're doing it wrong, you know. So yeah, nopales. Like anywhere we go, they'll look at her weird.
Yeah.
Like you want nopales? And she'll ask, like, can you do nopales? Like, can you add that to my plate?
Is there any changes that you're planning to do with your life after this encounter?
Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, it's gonna slow us down. Although, I mean, I'll debate it over and over that our life didn't lead to this happening. It
Yeah.
could happen to anybody. You know, I'm learning how strokes come. You know, it wasn't a heart attack; it's in the brain. It could be from stress. It could be from the many things. It's happened to. It could be to the youngest, healthiest person. But do I see us slowing down?
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. No two ways about it. Do I see us dieting and doing more walking and doing it? Yes. This is a wake up call.
Yes, sir.
There's other things that we could be protecting ourselves from, which is diabetes and different cholesterol. I mean, I have all the above. I've always thought I would be the one to have this, not her.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's yeah, I see a big change.
It's a wake-up call.
To answer your question, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'm just saying that. I mean, definitely.
Reminiscing all your story with your wife. What are your thoughts with this currently or this new generation
Oh God, you had to go there.
when it comes into a relationship? You know what I
Oh,
mean? When
relationship.
it comes
Okay.
into a relationship, you know what I
Okay.
mean? What is changing
I don't know how
in a different way, you know what I mean?
because I don't you know we don't have kids. I don't, although everybody that we hang with
Mhm.
is younger than us, and that's what kept us feeling young. Like everybody, like we'd hang out at the spot 99 bottles. That's our spot where I'd host,
Yeah.
and it's all a younger crowd, younger than her own daughters.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? She's like, God, they're younger than my daughters. But that's what kept us young. I didn't really like never took the time to ask how their relationships were of the people that would be around us. But now that you ask that question, they would all ask us, like, what's the secret? Or how do you guys are try to
Stay
learn
on.
from
Yeah.
us and see and be like, man, you guys are that couple. Like, how can we? And I really didn't I still don't know how to give that advice. All I could say is like what I said earlier
Yeah.
was I thought I was the catch, but no,
The other
I
way
see all my
around.
faults. I see all my faults. And there's quite a few that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would be if I had to start all over, trust me, I would not be I'd be hard to live with. I'm stuck in my own ways and the chamorita ways. And I would have to mold somebody into being her. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I don't know where you meet a lot, like you said, the new generation that
Yeah.
have old souls.
Yes, sir.
I've seen them. You know, I've seen the couples with the old souls, and I'm like, man, that's how we used to be back in the days. Or that, you know, I see them like they're reenacting the not reenacting, but reoccurring of the '90s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that was us, right? Like, you know, I don't know how the relationship is. I wish I could answer that question. I don't know how they're, you know, how they're living, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a different times at the end of the day. Well, overall, I just keep saying it over and over. I want to thank you for making time out of yourself. You know, you have your work, you work in 7 days, and then
Yeah, now I am.
you have your wife. You know,
Thank you.
going through this. Overall, wishing best luck to you and her. At
Thank
the end of
you.
the day, hopefully,
Thank you.
I get the pleasure to have her here on this platform.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she
no,
can,
definitely.
chop it up and all
Okay.
that with us. It will be definitely a pleasure to have you guys together here.
Thank you.
Put you guys in 2 cents in here. And at the end of the day, is there any advice or anything that you want to add out to the
I
viewers?
want to thank you for having me. And you know, like I said, when you had hit me up and you were like, I want to do a on my story.
Mhm.
You know, my life
Yeah.
story. And then you know, I waited. I think I looked at the date, and it was like a month later.
Yes.
And then it just hit me. I go, this gentleman wants to do a story on my life story.
Mm-hmm.
I go, my life story is Chamorrita. That's my life. That's what I live for each day. That's my life. So that's when I said, no, I want to give it to you. And I want it to be, it's going to be my therapy. I mean, I didn't know how I was going to like be able to talk about certain things, like when I found her, when she was, and stuff like that. I know now that there's tests in life that we go through. And I've been through some of the hardest ones, what I just told you with
Yeah.
my parents and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another one that I'm being tested for. I don't know what's in store for me in the future
Yeah.
or what I have coming. So I'm thanking you for having me here and letting me tell this story, because it's not your average story. It's the untold love story of find what you love and let it kill you, and that's what I'm telling right
Where did
now.
that came out from?
That was a quote from a gentleman by the name of Charles Bukowski,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got to meet him, but he lived in San Pedro, and he was a writer. He was a mailman,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a writer that wrote like these poems. And a lot of people felt him. Like he used to go to the bookstore that I buy books at.
Mhm.
I was always a bookworm, and he would buy his books there and had his books sold there. He'd go to this supermarket that I go to this day. And I remember he told a story that out here he could go into that market and then no one knows who he is, but he could go to London and he's a celebrity getting like mobbed by people. And this man blew up. So those were some of his words: find what you love and let it kill you. I don't know where it popped up on something at the right time when we were going through something, and I said, "Wow, find what you love and let it kill you." That could be both of us.
Yeah.
You found me, you love me, and I'm killing you. And now it fits me to
Yes.
her. You know what I mean? Like it's So that's where that came from Charles Bukowski. And we go to his gravesite on a regular. He's buried in San Pedro.
Okay.
Where my brother and my dad are buried in that same cemetery. So he's one that he's on our list that we take to.
You go visit.
Yeah, because of his words, and they played a big role. So three things in life: feel my love, Von Mason, happy, Rick James and Tina Marie, and find what you love and let it kill you.
Yes,
Those are
sir.
three that I live by. And I just want to thank everybody for their prayers and the positive messages that I've been getting. Even the negative ones, because it shows that Chamorrita has an impact on people. I think I was telling you earlier that she's breaking hearts and hurting feelings prior to this. And if somebody could have that kind of impact
Yeah.
on somebody that they're losing sleep over it, and their feelings are hurt and they need to go to counseling and therapy for that, then wow, she's
Yeah.
more powerful than I thought.
Definitely.
So
Yes, sir.
back to all the prayers. Thank you, because I do believe in that and I do pray. You know what I mean? I do. I thank you. It's very powerful. And just your words, people, that would send me messages. I read them. I may not reply back to everybody, but I do read them.
That's great.
And thank you. And thank you.
No, thank you. At the end of the day, thank you for making time. As always, highly appreciated. And always remember that people will respect you as much as you respect yourself. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Reconnecting.